Hey there, everybody and anybody, and welcome back to Night Call. So, we have done a bunch of stuff. I think we figured out a good amount of information. I'm gonna have to get gas this go around, but I don't know if I want to do that now or if I want to wait, because I want to go. I'm gonna go here, then probably get gas afterwards. Let's figure out who this Judge Killer is. Police archives look like any other building in Paris. No sign, nothing to make it stand out, but this is where all the case files and criminal records are stored. You know the place well. For several months you spent a lot of time with the woman who directs it. She was a regular passenger, calling upon you almost every night. First as a driver and then. You can see her shape from across the street. Try to prevent your brain from going there, but it has a mind of its own. She's as beautiful as ever. You get out of the cab. You cross over to the sidewalk from the other side. I'm not going to lie. I was surprised by your request. She lights a cigarette. She has that cold, distant look about her. But you know it's just a facade. You don't smoke anymore? No, I'm trying to quit. Sure. She has trouble articulating with the cigarette in her mouth. Good luck with that. I just can't manage. She runs a hand through her hair. Her wedding band shines under the street lamp. You're freezing. Listen, I'm sure you know I'm not allowed to give you this kind of information. But if what you said was true, then... You get the impression she's reaching for your side. Let her do it, yeah. Her hand brushes over your wound. You think about her body, her habits, how she used to call you in the middle of the night. I fished around and the first 3 victims were not part of the data leak. Shit. Shit indeed. That means the information about Besson, Bogran, and the Argentinian one? Gorodischer. I don't know what that means. Yes, that's it. Gorodischer. Oh, that must be the name. It all came from someone who had access to their criminal records. That help? You attempt to smile. Yes, it's better than nothing. A moment of silence. Helene takes her drag of her cigarette like there's no tomorrow. She paces a bit to warm herself up. You should come over sometime. What do you think? You grin. You and Helene used to sleep together when things with her husband weren't so good. Sounds good. Let me just finish all this. Oh wait, that was me. Let me just finish all this. Yes, of course. Give me a call when this is all over. She looks deep into your eyes. You look down. Her hands are shaking. One last smile and she puts her cigarette out. I've got to run. Need a taxi. It's very kind of you, but Bruno is coming to pick me up in a little while. Good luck. She reaches out to you affectionately and then stops. You decide to cross the street to put some distance between you as quickly as possible. You get into your cab and rub your hands together. Time to get back to your shift. So we figured out that this was a cop. Pretty sure I already known that. Yeah, let's go get this gas. Pull over and stop at a gas station. Not a soul in sight. The fluorescent lights irritate your eyes, and the smell of pee is wafting up from the space in between the pumps. Self-service here. You pay directly at the pump. The mini-mart over there must sell newspapers. The person behind the counter must see and hear things. Might be worth asking a couple questions. You get out of your taxi and are struck with the familiar feeling that you were the last person on Earth. You walk into the mini-mart. The guy behind the counter doesn't even look at you when he starts to talk in a lazy, lifeless tone. Welcome. He sighs, beyond tired of repeating the same sentence over and over. To La Belle Pompe. This serial killer business is crazy. Clerk cuts you off, pointing an angry finger at the newspapers and the display in front of him. Have you seen how much the police suck at catching him? You smile and let him keep talking. Okay. That was quick. Good night, I guess. You nodding and exit the shop. Yeah, let's get out of here. I need money. Two women cross the street in front of your cab. They're laughing so loudly, but you can't help but smile. I don't know what the rest of that was. You immediately recognize the passenger who just climbed to the back of your cab. His face has been plastered all over the news for the last few weeks. He's a lawyer. A lawyer who's representing a terrorist. He gives you an address and you start driving. He holds your gaze in the rearview mirror like he's trying to read your mind. You drive across a virtually empty Paris. Behind you, the lawyer nervously consults his notes. Everything all right? He answers without looking up. Yes. You get the message and leave him alone. You continue driving without saying a word. Passenger mutters, "Ugh, why did he say that to the cops? He's not taking this seriously. He doesn't get it. Idiot." There again. He says it again. Ugh. Is he contradicting himself or just... You glance in your mirror. The lawyer looks like a smaller version of himself. Your eyes meet in the rearview mirror. You see him start to break. I can't take it anymore. He takes a deep breath. He loses control of his voice. This guy's a real asshole. He's not just a monster, he's a total idiot. Tears form at the corners of his eyes. I've never seen such a moronic defendant. You know what it's like to defend a moron? You know what it's like to get only 3 hours of sleep at night so you can defend a fucking moron? Do you have any idea? He yells so loudly, the windows shake. Sorry. When he answers, his voice is icy cold. No need to apologize. There's nothing to be sorry about. He pauses barely, just the time to take a breath. Jesus effing Christ already. He kicks the seat in front of him. Jesus! He calms himself down, steadies his breath. I'm the one who agreed to do it. I actually fought to represent him. It's my own damn fault for being dragged through the mud. He raises his hand, snickers. Yeah, I admit it. At first, I thought it was pretty great. Being on TV, all the interviews, journalists asking my opinion about everything. I shook so many hands, said so many words, sentences, yet I actually said nothing. When I worked in the hood, not a single person cared about my work, and now, in 5 hours, I have to be on the radio, in 7 on TV. He pauses, breathes. His voice sounds further and further away. If only I could just close my eyes and forget about all this. But that's impossible. Actually, it's simple. I almost never sleep. When I lie in bed, I stare at the ceiling, go over the evidence in my head. He sits up. It's barbaric, disgusting, so horrific, it's almost unreal. He lets out a sigh from somewhere deep into his body. And then I discover my client bought nails. The nails that were in the bombs at the corner market, and he kept the receipt. He kept the fucking receipt. Folded it in half and slipped it into his wallet. And that's what I see when I close my eyes. Disemboweled bodies and a receipt for €2 worth of nails. Why? He raises his voice quite high. Why, for God's sake? He thought he could expense it when he got to heaven. He pauses. So stupid and so dangerous, he disgusts me. He revolts me. Why defend him then? Because everyone has the right to an attorney. Everyone without exception. Otherwise, justice is no longer just. His fit of rage subsides. His fingers are shaking. When I signed on, I thought I'd be representing someone crazy. And I find out he's just a moron who played too many video games. The guy's never tried to read the holy book, they used to justify their so-called acts of martyrdom? You read a few passages online. Passages online. Do you have any idea what a complete moron he is? He chuckles. I'm sorry, I'm truly sorry. I shouldn't have said all that. He takes a deep breath. I don't have anyone else to talk with about it. All the other lawyers avoid me like the plague. My mother can't understand why I'm doing this. She's so ashamed she went back to Algeria. He is shaking. I get the shame. What I don't get is why people just lump things together. I'm not a terrorist. I'm not a murderer. No one else would do it. Yeah, so what? Do I get a prize? No, I get spit on every day. Why? For a moron. We could hang him right here, right now, and no one, I'm telling you, would shed a tear. He stays quiet for a moment, catches your gaze. That's why I keep doing this. He slows his breathing. For equality, our country was founded on it. His rights have been abused far too often for me to look the other way. His anger seems to be lifting. Taxi has almost reached its destination. In the back seat, the lawyer is much calmer. His voice is soft. I need to be reminded of this. This will serve a lesson. He looks at you in the mirror and bores you into you with his gaze. It's odd, isn't it? That I ran into you tonight? I mean, as if... No, forget it. You pull over, he pays his fare. Wait, don't take this the wrong way, but... He hands you another bill. Here, this is for you. For listening. For hearing what I had to say. Hell yeah, I'm gonna take it. Slide the bill into your pocket. He looks relieved, gathers his belongings strewn across the back seat. As he's getting out of the cab, you realize he left an envelope behind. For a second, one tiny second, you hesitate. Could be something important. You forgot something. He freezes, notices the envelope and grabs it hastily. Until he's uncomfortable. He doesn't say another word. He gets out of the taxi, walks a few steps away, and turns around to wave at you before entering a bistro. You drive off. Needed that. Out of nowhere, you hear a voice whispering in your ear. This is where I died. You brake hard. There's no noise in the cab, no noise outside. Creepy. Silhouette appears in the backseat of the cab. Features appeared by one as if drawn by a paintbrush. So much suffering. You squint, little boy. Would you be so kind as to drive me? Say nothing. Very well, let us drive then. The boy's silhouette flutters for a moment, then disappears entirely. You hold your breath. On the backseat behind you, the boy slowly reappears. You start driving. Rue de Rosé, please. You stare at the rearview mirror. What for? We're going to the Rue de Rosé to eat falafel. The delicious smell tickles your nose. The little ghost heaves a short sigh. He seems happy. Your stomach starts to growl. You're hungry. Strange. Usually never fall victim to the night munchies. Your colleagues often gain weight when they work the night shift. Nothing to do but snack. Tonight, however, you're famished. We're going to the Rue de Rosé to eat the best falafel in Paris. I love walking around here, drinking in the smells, hearing the hiss of fried food, seeing juices and sausages dripping off the sandwiches. He's almost giddy. Oglers who twist every which way to catch a piece of tomato about to fall. His silhouette blurs. I wish I could taste it all. The rear window lowers all by itself. A gust of icy cold wind fills the cab. Close the window as quickly as possible. Behind you, the little ghost voice starts to break up, scatter. I can just imagine, but it's not the same. It's not like the real thing. No, not at all. The same. He seems far off, about to disappear. Everything alright? He does not answer your question and becomes vague and hesitant. They're screaming, shouting, throwing themselves to the ground. Bomb goes off. Another. Same. He catches his breath, looks outside, points at something in the distance. There, Rue de Rosset. Paris stopped here. A city wall in which so many children played hide and seek no longer exists. I never even climbed up there. Now the stones are hidden in other buildings, and no one will ever find them again. Such is the life of a city. He grows silent for a moment. A nauseating smell takes over the cab. It takes you a few seconds to recognize it. Gunpowder. Rue de Rosset, Bitter Street. How many people thought they were at home before before leaving to grow old somewhere else? There was a terrorist attack right here. 6 dead. Right in the middle of lunch. Plates were being passed, bottles being poured, forks falling on the floor. Child in the back blurs, becomes distant. I can imagine the last sentences they pronounced, their last words. No, don't worry about it. Yes, I can give you something else instead. 2 coffees. Coffees. When he starts to speak again, his voice has broken quality, as if it were a far-off, threatening figure walking towards the car. I'd like to drink coffee, but I didn't know it existed before, when I was still alive, breathing, walking. His figure flutters. What about you? Do you like coffee? You can tell it's not just a simple question. The child smiles at you. Tell me about coffee. Its taste, texture, its warmth. Tell me everything. Talk about coffee. Coffee is a drug, a hard one. It screws with your stomach. Reminds you that you're just really a machine inside. Tubes, pockets, filters. Burns your throat and stomach. Why do you drink it, then? Don't know. I think that sums up who we are, doesn't it? Glance back at the kid. He's listening in silence. So you don't like it? Oh no, I do. But it's like cigarettes, a slow killer. No matter the quality of the beans, the tobacco, it's poison. Memory floats through your head. Heavy-set figure rolling on a cigarette between his worn fingers. We are complicated beasts. Yes, we like to mistreat ourselves. Like what happened in the Rue de Rosset. Suddenly he's gone. You brake sharply, keeping an eye on the rearview mirror. You're now alone in the taxi. Alone, craving falafel. Great. So no money. No nothing. Go see this chick. That's why you don't help out creepy ghosts. They can't pay. Passenger who enters your cab seems familiar to you. She gives you her address and you start to drive. Glance back at her from time to time, trying to remember where you've seen her before. It's no use. Suddenly, she gives a little pout, clearly annoyed by your insistent gaze. Sorry, your face seems familiar to me. She breathes an audible sigh. Could be. She pauses deliberately. I'm in porn. Sweet. That's who she is. An actress. A former actress. You'd seen her in a couple of movies a few years ago. That's probably why you recognize my face. Your mouth suddenly goes dry. Her eyes and voice show no signs of emotion whatsoever. She might as well have said she were a teacher or a dentist. Oh. Does it shock you? No, it's just I didn't expect it. That's why your face looks so familiar to me. Probably. Do you watch a lot of porn? You shake your head no, even before the attack. No, not that much. Even though you recognize her face. Yeah, I don't know about that. Either you're pretty rare or you're lying. I'm just busy these days. She leans forward. But by the way, do you like that kind of porn? This is a very odd conversation. I'm just asking because I'm curious about what people like to watch. It's not really my thing. It's okay to talk about it, you know. Tell the truth, damn it. It's true. I hardly watch any. Hardly any. Yeah. You blush slightly. Come on, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Do you prefer younger women? Older women? No. Men? No. She leans back, an embarrassed smile playing across her lips. Alright, I'll stop bothering you with questions. Can't help reading in your eyes a touch of satisfaction, as if she enjoyed asking you all those questions. Before long, you arrive at your address the passenger had given you. You have trouble parking. None of the street lights are working. There's nothing stranger than an unlit Parisian street in the middle of the night. Your client gives a slight cough behind you. You wouldn't mind staying here until I'm in the building? They're doing work. The lights aren't working. She doesn't even finish her sentence. No problem. Thanks, I have to say I've been feeling a little insecure lately. All of her energy suddenly seems to have vanished. She hesitates a moment as if she can feel your connection with the killer before speaking. I knew one of the victims of the serial killer. Natalie. I knew her pretty well, in fact. We'd worked together and sometimes she babysat my son. You know, she was a great girl. She starts talking about her friend. Who she was. Who she had been seeing. How she changed just before she died. You make a mental note of the new information. I'll stay here until you're in the building, okay? Thank you. She hands you the fare and exits the cab slowly, crossing the street in total darkness to the door of her building. You remember that night, the pain, the stab of the knife in your side. If only you turned your head, you'd have seen your assailant's face. Maybe they would have killed you that night. Maybe your attacker would have already spotted you in your cab. Your passenger waves to you as the building door closes. You wave back. Fear spreads slowly through your body. You breathe in slowly and drive away. There's more information to get, but I really need to get some money. You pull up in front of the address the central office gave you. A crepe joint. A crepe. Sorry, it just makes me think of Talladega Nights.
I wish I could crawl into one of those right now.
Quite a popular one by the looks of the lines spilling out the door and onto the sidewalk. You sit for a moment. The door opens and a group of 30-somethings come into view. All the men and women are dressed alike, sporty, running shoes, jeans, small shoulder bags. They're officers from the Paris Anti-Crime Squad in plain clothes. You sigh, they're brutish types. Ones who like to race, tackle, clobber. Ones who ruin the afternoons you spent wandering around Paris in your teens. After a bit, one of them pulls away from the group and comes over to your taxi. He opens the door and collapses into the back seat. He's stalking of Asian descent. You can see his muscles through his thick winter clothes. He smells like crepes and hard cider, and his face is bright red. Hey, wake up! I live near Terrence. Chuckles. One of his colleagues rushes over to the taxi and pulls an imaginary gun from his coat. Points to his badge and screams at you with a big smile on his face. What a douchebag. The other cop eventually backs off and you drive away. Sorry, man. We were having a going away party for a colleague. And celebrating Christmas, too. No worries. Your passenger smiles and he puts a finger on the back onto his temples. I drank too much shit. I'm a lightweight, and they knew it. I think they were trying to loosen my tongue. His behavior changes abruptly, like he's just seen a ghost. One question. Yes. Do taxi drivers have some sort of policy or ethics code? Not sure I understand. Like priests? Or doctors? If I tell you something, can you keep it to yourself? You start speaking before you even have a chance to reply. I've been lying to my colleagues for years. I joined the squad 8 years ago, and they all think I'm in a relationship with a woman who lives in Strasbourg. Now we're going to get married? He makes a strange yelping noise, like an air bubble bursting on the surface of a river. As soon as they got too close to Strasbourg, I started making up stories. We've almost broken up 10 times. I convinced them that we're trying to have a kid, but it hasn't worked yet. He sighs. Fuck. Saying out loud is just the worst. His eyes are getting shiny. I'm gay. Deep breath. I'm getting married in a few weeks to my boyfriend. Another breath, longer, deeper. No one at work knows. Not a soul. The next sentences come out in a rush. He holds his breath the whole time. I like men. I've always liked men. But I work in a police station and listen to their comments, to their jokes all day long. When we catch a guy who's never done time before, we tell him briefly what he should expect. We talk about the violence, about the... Finally, he breathes in again. I say we because I'm in on it. Because I can say fag any time of day without prompting. The word rolls off my tongue completely naturally. Fag. He finally looks at you in the eye. And they're not mean. Who? He shakes his head. My colleagues aren't mean people. They're cops, not mean. Just doing the job. He manages to flash a tiny crooked smile. You know what I'd really like? He pauses. I'd like to have them over for dinner. Everybody on the squad. They could see my place. We could play board games, something normal, you know? They can meet James. He's your husband-to-be. He takes a moment, thinking about your question. Yes, soon. He smiles at last, a genuine smile. Can you believe it? We're getting married in 2 weeks. After living together for 9 years. For 9 years, he's been willing to live in a lie. Does he hold it against you? No, he gets how it is. He snickers. He's crazy about me, and I'm crazy about him. He knows I love my job and couldn't possibly do anything else. He loves me enough to let me keep lying. He slowly shakes his head. But I can't go on like this. I have to... He freezes. Shit, my head is spinning. I don't feel so good. Why am I telling you all this? Why? He grabs him to the seat in front of him. Hey, can you pull over? You stop immediately. He opens the door and leans the top half of his body out. He throws up. You open your window to air out the greasy smell of fried crepes and the sour scent of cider. A moment later, the cop sits back up. Okay, I'm all set. I got it all out. You start driving again. I'm sorry, really. It's alright. I hate all that. These sausage parties, cheap alcohol, lies. You nod while your passenger moans and quietly says, I'm sorry. Don't worry. He pauses to catch his breath. Shit, I haven't barfed like that since last Easter. They made me drink this South African liquor. Something with cream and cocoa. Nasty. I can still picture it. I was doing shots when they shouted my name. Karate Kid, Karate Kid. Karate Kid. He seems uncomfortable. It's my nickname on the squad. Karate. Yeah. I was a judo champion. And a magook. So, he runs his hands along the sides of his body, like he's showcasing it for the Home Shopping Network. So, Karate Kid. Yeah, I know. It makes no sense. Oh, yeah, I know. It makes no sense. It's racist. Well, yeah, a little. But at first, I didn't say anything. And now, I'm used to it. He stops suddenly. Everything's spinning again. Can you... You pull over. I repeat it last time. He opens the door, leans his head out, his torso, his arms. Sound makes your stomach churn, so you stare straight ahead. Can I ask you a question? More puke on the sidewalk, a little inside the vehicle. Go ahead. Fine, shoot. He sits up, prompts you to drive. So, here goes. What should I do? Should I keep on keeping on? Should I confess? Should I invite them to my wedding and surprise them? He pauses. It's a long one. Be straight with me. What would you do if you were me? If you were in my shoes? I think you're being hard on yourself. You're hurting yourself rather than trying to solve the problem. You're not going to change your sexual orientation or leave your husband. So there aren't a ton of alternatives. Me personally, I'd tell him. I don't know though. Tell him. Well, I've got to tell him. He looks at you in the mirror. Can you take me somewhere else if you don't mind? I don't mind. My colleagues are at a bar. I'll go see him. Tell him everything. If I don't do it now, then I'll never do it. A smile of relief spreads across his face. Not just alcohol talking. Yes, but I think it's about the 10th time I've gotten wasted this month. You're right, I'm hurting myself. He gives you the new address. I need to tell them now. I feel terrible, but I think I'll feel better if I speak to them directly. His headache is apparently back. He's knocked him out a little bit. You're used to having drunk people in your cab. Actually, the majority of your Saturday night passengers are drunk. I don't know how to tell them about this. I don't know how to tell him about all this. From the tone of his voice, you can tell he's beginning to panic. I don't think I'm ready. Same thing. The passenger stares hard at you. You can tell your sound's giving him doubts. I want to go home. He sighs. It's not a good idea to talk to him when my blood alcohol level is so high. Thank you. The remainder of the ride is long. You can see he's having trouble sitting still. Once or twice you sense he's about to break and change his mind. Then, nothing. He appears to calm down and remains completely lost. Still, lost in his own head. You keep an eye on the road. You've almost reached your destination. In the back seat, the passenger is almost asleep. You park in front of a small townhouse. There's a light on upstairs. He's still up? I'm going to talk to James. He looks at you. Hi. I don't really remember everything I said, but thanks. He chuckles. I hope this taxi ride wasn't just in my imagination. He pays and gets out of the taxi. You listen to his clumsy footsteps on the cobblestones. He climbs a few steps up to your door. Before he has time to find his keys, the door opens. Warm, soft light floods the street. You drive away. Alright. Let's do this. Probably the last one before it's gonna have us go home, so might as well try to find something out. You leave your taxi behind and walk towards the last victim's building. Charles Beaugrain Ferrer was killed in his parking garage. Large metal garage doors firmly closed. Look for another entrance, I guess. You walk around the back of the building and look at the various entrances. The main one, the garage door, and a maintenance door for the fat trash cans. Maintenance? Barely taking a step when a voice calls out to you. Hey, what are you doing? This is private property! You turn around and see a rather elderly man, probably the concierge. He shines a flashlight in your direction. Let's go with the truth. A taxi driver. A taxi driver? You've got no fucking business here. Can I ask you a question? You have trouble making out the face, but you see his eyes bug out. Go, get out of here before I call the cops. You leave the lobby. The concierge follows you and checks to make sure the door is firmly shut behind you. Get the fuck out now! You make your way back to the cab. You glance back at the building. The furious concierge is gone. Settling behind the wheel, short of breath. Seriously? Apparently should have fucking lied to the guy. Same thing as before. Okay, this is a little bit different. Yeah. Let's get a newspaper. Guy behind the counter barely looks at you as you leave. Alright, so I'm gonna read my newspaper, I think. Maybe I'll talk to this guy afterwards. You pull a newspaper out of your glove compartment and start leafing through it. Eventually, something grabs your eye. It's a rather positive critique of a bar called Salil's. You make out the note of information with interest. In your line of work, kind of thing can always come in handy. Turn the page and stop. You read about a third of the newspaper. You stop reading and go back a few pages. You thought you saw something. A badly framed photo of a terse article inform you that a minister is stepping down for personal reasons. She'll be replaced by her right-hand man, who also happens to be her husband. Her face is not at all familiar. You don't think you've seen her before. You have only a third left to read. As soon as you get to the page you stop, your instinct tells you to look at. It's an enthusiastic review of a new video game about the Uberization of society. You scan the text, a bit lost. A video game about a taxi driver. Sounds cool. Crazy Taxi was a great game. You shut the paper. You end up in the trash tonight. Or it'll end up in the trash tonight. If you remember it's there. Otherwise, it'll spend the rest of its days in your glove compartment. You double park and wait for your next passenger to slide in the back seat. He looks at you like he appreciates you in your taxi. He gives you the address. You start driving. A few words are exchanged: the weather, taxes, traffic. Then you can tell it's coming, the inevitable conversation about the killer. Some bits of information, rumors, things heard. God. You make a mental note of what you heard. Who knows? It might come in handy. Passengers make a sound for the next few minutes of the trip. It doesn't bother you. You have enough on your mind. Your investigation, the judge. Bus it. You're overcome with a craving to smoke. You nod slowly and glance at your passenger. Calm and still, he seems far away. Everything okay? Yes, thank you. He slowly turns his head towards you and gives you an odd look. It's like he's disappointing you. You're talking to him. He watches you closely for another minute and turns back to look out the window. Keep your eyes on the road. Silence becomes heavy. All of a sudden, you feel a strange sense of camaraderie with your passenger. You look at him quickly in the rearview mirror. He doesn't look familiar at all, and yet it's like you know him. A second later, an outside light shines on his face at a weird angle. Looks like he's smiling. A few seconds later, you drive down a street. He straightens up a bit. Park in front of the number he gave you. He pays his fare without a word. Door opens slowly and he smiles at you. You can tell it comes from the bottom of his heart, despite how uptight he is. You're really a swell guy. You weren't expecting that. By the time you collect your thoughts, your passenger is already far away. Disappears into a building. A moment goes by before you turn the key to the ignition. That's weird. Alright, cool. Alright. What the fuck? You're for another night, guy. Not happening. Let's go home. Let's see what our investigation brings us. We've met Salim Wadyan. Ludwig. Creepy. You park in front of your building. Someone taps on your window. You look over and see your boss. You get back. He gets into the back seat, expressionless. Everything okay? I don't know how to say this, but he sighs slowly. You don't have a single euro left at the bank. What the fuck did you do? I'm going to pay it off. No, it's too late. Sorry about that. Oh, goddamn, he's gonna fire me. But I have no choice. I need you to turn over your taxi and permit. It's just the way it is. Your head is spinning. You can barely hear your boss's voice. A few minutes later, the taxi starts without you in it. Soon the police bus it. Your face will be on the papers. All of France will be convinced you're the killer. You're fucked. Fucked. Seriously? Did I just fail that? Cool. I think I can replay that night. So that was a fail. I need to make more money. So I gotta stop investigating today for the next episode, and just do a night of just fairs. Hopefully I'll get some good stuff with it, but yeah, I am in the negative, so I need to get going with it. I hope you guys enjoyed, though, even though we failed. And we will pick this up next time. If you did enjoy, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.